Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie and this is a day 19 of Veda video every day in April, and today's topic is 3 books that I was surprised that I really liked and 3 books that I'm surprised that I did not like. As I said, this was actually a topic that somebody suggested to me. They wanted to know 3 books that I was surprised that I really loved, that I didn't have very high expectations for, and 3 books that, or they wanted to know books. Not 3. I picked the number 3 because that's my number for this month, but 3 books that I was disappointed with. So we'll just get to what those books are, and I'll give you a little explanation on each one of them. So let's get to it. So surprisingly, I liked Dear Martin by Nic Stone. This is a YA novel that deals with the social injustice of law enforcement and the Black community and how Black people are treated when involved in a law enforcement situation. And I loved this book. I went and I read this book via, I believe I got it from my library first, and once I listened to it on audiobook from their digital library, I immediately went out and bought the hardback copy so that I could have a copy of it. That is how good I thought this book was. I find that this book is very balanced in that it talks about the social injustice of law enforcement in the Black community, but at the same time it doesn't paint either side as the straight up complete villain of a situation. It explains that there are always situations and there are always different things that escalate a situation. So the story is Justice. He is a young man. He is African American and he goes to a charter school. And I like the other aspect of this book was that they discussed what was going on in Justice's life while he was in school. He was a straight A student. It was a charter school, so he was there on scholarship, I believe it was. But in that sociology class, they discussed his feelings and sort of the feelings of his classmates and everything like that. There was a good group of representation in this. There was a white kid, there was a Black kid, there's a biracial kid, Justice is Black, so there was males and females, there was all sorts of different voices and things like that. And the premise behind it is that Justice has something to happen a couple of times with law enforcement, and he has to figure out how he's going to deal with law enforcement, being that he is an African American student, and seeing how he's going to be painted and how he's going to handle it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And like I said, I went out and bought a physical copy so that when my son gets older, he can read this book and maybe we can discuss and find things out together through it. The next book that I was very surprised that I really enjoyed and loved was the Life of Anna series by Marissa Honeycutt. This series I knew was dark when I went into it, but I did not think that I would hang out with the darkness for 4 books before I actually saw light. I mean, I was dragged into the light. I mean, into the dark for this book. I was in such a hole, but I couldn't put it down. It was so good. It has so many different aspects to it. It has like a cult sort of feel to it. There's some very deplorable and taboo topics that go on in it. However, I thought Marissa did an amazing job at bringing these characters to life, and then come to find out later on, there is a fantastical sort of aspect to the story as well, and I just love that. I didn't even notice it when I was starting the story, and by the time it hit me, I was like, where did that go? Oh, shucky ducky. Yes, I was so for it. Completely for it. The final book that I really enjoyed, that I had no expectations of loving so much, was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This is a book of poetry, and I actually listened to it on audiobook, so it was more of a short story for me. Jason Reynolds narrates this, and if anything, I recommend that you get the narration, the audiobook for this, because it is so powerful. It is so powerful. The story or the poems go over a span of 30 to 40 seconds, the ride of an elevator ride. The time frame is an elevator ride. That's all it is. And the book is like 300 or 400 pages or something like that. But they're prose, so they're all poems, and they should go pretty quickly. But when you're listening to Jason narrate it, you're just in the story. You're feeling with that character what he's going through. So the character is taking a elevator ride from his apartment down to the basement floor or down to the street level, and he had just gotten news that a family member had gotten killed. He lives in a sort of bad area in which there's gangs that sort of run the neighborhood and stuff like that, and it goes over sort of the rules that he has to go through being a black man in his area and the things that he has to live with and rules that he has to live by in his life. And it was just, it emotionally gripped me, and I didn't expect it to. Alrighty, so now to the books that I thought I was going to love but ended up completely hating. And this may come at no surprise. I don't think that I didn't think I was going to love this book at all, but it was super, super hyped. And then when I started hearing what it was about, I was like, I don't know, I'm going to be on the fence about that, and I'm just going to try and go in with a clear mind of, you know, what can happen. That is The Hate U Give. I thought I would find more connectivity with this book. However, I didn't. I found it absolutely horrible. I don't like it. I am of the unpopular opinion, and that is fine. If you don't agree with my assessment of this book, I will link the 25-minute rant up in the cards so that you can take it out, or you can check out the description box. I'll put it down there as well. I have since seen the movie, and I think the screenwriters did a way better job than Angie Thomas did with the book. Yes, she gave them the idea, but they played upon her idea and brought it to life in a more understandable and balanced way. I'm just going to leave it at that. The next book was The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. I absolutely loved these movies. I love these movies. Princess Diary, Anne Hathaway, loved them. I tried to read the book for one of the readathons, and I hate this book. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Wow, I'm glad that I watched the movies before I read the book, because I was not feeling Mia and her 12-year-oldness, and I loved all the changes that they made for the movie. Yes. And then the final book that I'm going to talk about is The Bandit by B.B. Reed, and I only got about 10% into this book, and it was more or less the fact that the author had no remorse for the topics and situations that she was writing and placing minors in. So I understand that the author is a younger author. That's fine, that's great. And that was some of the stuff that she wanted to read. But me being an adult, I could not take my adult hat off enough to, you know, read about a 16-year-old being lusted after from a 40-year-old or 30-year-old. Late 30-year-old. Nope. Nope. No. No. I am a childhood sexual abuse survivor, so that just, nope. Hard limit right there. So, yeah. And then to have no remorse whatsoever on the author's part to say, you know, oh, that's what I like to read, so that's how I'm going to write it, and that's just how it's going to be. Yeah, nope. So, have you read any of those books? What do you think about them? What are your thoughts on them? Let's talk about it down in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow.